The Bible contains the mind of God, the state of man, the way of salvation, the doom of sinners, and the happiness of believers. Its doctrines are holy, its precepts are binding, its stories are true, and its decisions are immutable. Read it to be wise, believe it to be safe, and practice it to be holy. It contains light to direct you, food to support you, and comfort to cheer you. It is the traveler's map, the pilgrim's staff, the pilot's compass, the soldier's sword, and the Christian's charter. Here, paradise is restored, heaven opened, and the gates of hell disclosed. Christ is its grand subject, our good the design, and the glory of God its end. It should fill the memory, rule the heart, and guide the feet. Read it slowly, frequently, and prayerfully. It is a mine of wealth, health to the soul, and a river of pleasure. It involves the highest responsibility, will reward the greatest labor, and will condemn all who trifle with its sacred contents. Pray it in, read it through, live it out, and pass it on.
Now we're going to talk about an event in history that is very significant: the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. In Genesis chapter 18, verses 1 through 2, it says, "The Lord appeared again to Abraham near the oak grove belonging to Mamre. One day, Abraham was sitting at the entrance to his tent during the hottest part of the day. He looked up and noticed 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he ran to meet them and welcomed them, bowing low to the ground. Then the men rose from there and looked towards Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them on the way. And the Lord said, 'Shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? Since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I have known him, in order that he may command his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of the Lord, to do righteousness and justice, that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has spoken to him.' And the Lord said, 'Because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grave, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the outcry against it that has come to me, and if not, I will know.' Abraham bargained with God, asking God not to destroy the cities if God could find righteous people. This is an example of intercession in which Abraham put himself in between the people of Sodom and Gomorrah and God. God agreed that if 10 righteous people could be found, he would not destroy the cities. This reveals the power of people who live obediently in a covenant relationship with God. In Genesis 18 and verse 32, it says, "Then he said, 'Let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak but once more. Suppose 10 should be found there.' And he said, 'I will not destroy it for the sake of 10. So we see that God inclined his ear to the voice of Abraham's request in sparing the cities. 10 righteous people were not found, but God chose to deliver the family of Abraham's nephew Lot by sending angels to rescue them. Again, this reveals the power of doing right. If a person lives right and prays for their family, God will lead them and protect them. Key number 3, you will want to write this down. The people who obey God's covenant will have His protection and blessing. The depth of sin in Sodom and Gomorrah is revealed in the following passages. Genesis chapter 19, verse 1, verses 4 through 16, and verse 29. We will take some time to study these verses because a lot of these things that were happening are the same kinds of things we witness in our world today. And it is important for us to understand how the Lord felt about this kind of behavior. Verse 1, now the 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face toward the ground, and he said, "Hear now, my lords, please turn into your servant's house." Before they had gone to bed, all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. Verse 5, they called to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we can have sex with them." Verse 6, Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind him and said, "No, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Look, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do what you like with them. But don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof." "Get out of our way," they replied. And they said, "This fellow came here as an alien, and now he wants to play the judge? We'll treat you worse than them." They kept bringing pressure on Lot and moved forward to break down the door. But the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness, so that they could not find the door. The 2 men said to Lot, "Do you have anyone else here? Sons-in-law, sons or daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of here, because we are going to destroy this place." The outcry to the Lord against its people is so great that He has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who were pledged to marry his daughters. He said, "Hurry and get out of this place, because the Lord is about to destroy the city." But his sons-in-law thought he was joking. With the coming of dawn, the angels urged Lot, saying, "Hurry, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away when the city is punished." When he hesitated, the men grasped his hand and the hands of his wife and his 2 daughters and led them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. Verse 29, so when God destroyed the cities of the plain, He remembered Abraham, and He brought Lot out of the catastrophe that overthrew the cities where Lot had lived. And we can see in this passage that Lot's to-be sons-in-law, they thought he was joking. and the people who had surrounded the house, they were so overcome with their desire to commit a vile sin that they were going to break down the door of Lot's home. But it was because of Abraham's prayers that Lot was delivered. And we can see from Lot's behavior, he even hesitated to leave with the angels that were sent to deliver him. Jude verse 7 says it this way, "And don't forget Sodom and Gomorrah and their neighboring towns, which were filled with immorality and every kind of sexual perversion. Those cities were destroyed by fire and serve as a warning of the eternal fire of God's judgment." Indeed, the Bible is very clear about how God feels about this type of immorality. The Bible teaches us to remember Lot's wife. She loved the things of the world more than her relationship with God. And because of this desire, she disobeyed God's command and she died. In Genesis chapter 19, verse 17, it says, "So it came to pass when they had brought them outside that he said, 'Escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains lest you be destroyed.'" Verse 26, "But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt." There's a reason where it says in the Bible to not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. And Matthew 6:21 says, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Key number 4, serve God 100% and never look back. There are times when we need to put our focus on things above, things that will cause us to draw near to God and not on the things of this world. Let's turn now to look at what happened when God fulfilled his promise to Abraham and Sarah. Isaac was born when Abraham was 100 and Sarah was 90 years old. Genesis 21, verses 1 through 5. "And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son, who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. Then Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Now, Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him." Key number 5, God always fulfills his promises.